And welcome right here to the Kevin Allen Show. And, we like to cover a lot of different topics, right? We're always talking to folks across the country, sometimes during campaigns, sometimes they're current events, sometimes they're musicians. But right now, one thing that's going on in this country is we're watching the January 6th hearings, and so many of the folks that we've had on our show, all the way back to Stuart Rhodes and, of course, Norm Pattis, who's been affiliated. Now, tonight, we're going to have a chance to speak to someone who is intimately involved in this situation. I'm talking about Jeff Zink. You can Google search Jeff Zink. He's running for Congress in Arizona. But tonight we're going to be talking to Jeff exactly what happened on January 6th with his son, Ryan, who was at January 6th with videos. Here's a little bit of news before we go into the interview.
Tech student is in jail tonight after being arrested early this morning by the FBI on charges related to the riots at the U.S. Capitol.
Tonight, the U.S. Attorney for our area is asking a federal magistrate to keep Ryan Zink in the Lubbock County Detention Center until his trial, citing public safety.
KCBD News Channel 11's Melanie Camacho has more on this story and spoke to Ryan Zink's father, who says the accusations are false. Melanie?
Karen and Abner, FBI agents are accusing 32-year-old Ryan Zink of trespassing, assault of persons and restricted grounds, and obstruction of an official proceeding. Ryan Zink is the son of a congressional candidate out of Arizona named Jeff Zink. In federal court documents, a special agent from the FBI says sources have given him photos of Ryan Zink participating in the riots. According to the U.S. Attorney in D.C., Ryan Zink took several videos and photos during the insurrection on January 6th. The documents show law enforcement reviewed Ryan's Facebook page, where they say he posted videos of himself near rioters. Documents show in one video, Zink took a video of himself saying, "We knocked down the gates, we're storming the Capitol, you cannot stop us." In another video, the complaint shows Zink filmed rioters knocking down a door into the U.S. Capitol building. Federal agents report the day after the riots, Zink posted on his Facebook page, quote, "Not everyone went inside. It was a small group of about, I would say, 25 to 30 people, and they were the only combative ones. I got super close and documented everything. I'm not some radical right-wing nut job. I literally took pictures of them and saw the tattoos. It's not hard to identify." Jeff Zink, Ryan's father, says the accusations are false.
He didn't breach the Capitol building at all. In the excitement of what was taking place, he was right beside me.
Jeff Zink said he and his son were there to peacefully protest and let their voices be heard.
I have video of somebody who was actually doing damage to the building, the federal building. And I handed my card, which has my name, my phone number, that I'm running for Congress, to the Capitol Police and said, I have video of him actually damaging the building. And if you would like this, please contact me.
Jeff says he and Ryan left right after the riots began. Convicted for these crimes, Ryan Zink faces up to 40 years in federal prison. Karen and Abner.
Thank you, Melanie. Turning now to our weather. Tomorrow is going.
And so you set it up with Ryan Zink and his dad, Jeff, who we're going to bring on right now. Jeff Zink, who's been in Washington, D.C. from Arizona. We want to welcome you onto the Kevin Allen Show. How are you doing, sir?
Good. Thank you so much, Kevin. I just want to thank you for taking the time to learn about the facts with Ryan's case. I would have to say, although many that day would have been considered storming the Capitol, it was mostly a rally of attendees being escorted inside the building by local law enforcement and Capitol Police, who moved barriers and opened doors before showing the entrance around. And of course, there were others that day, the agitators, many of whom was captured on video committing crimes against the people and property, including the video that Ryan of Hunter Empty breaking those windows at the federal Capitol building. Some people were in and out of our government suggested that these agitators, were FBI informants. To date, the FBI director, Chris Wray, has been unwilling, basically, to set the record straight on this issue. You know, while Ryan and I remained outside at the building entirely that day, we never walked through the Capitol. Entrances opened up by the officers. We didn't have any personal interaction with any of the attendees who decided to follow behind those officers that led the rally goers into the Capitol that day.
Well, thanks again, Jeff, for coming on. And I know this is a really, got to be a challenging time. You're in Washington, D.C. Besides real life issues, this is the realest life issue right now in your family. Your son is facing some serious jail time. The allegations are heavy. Yet what we're hearing from you, and we'll get another video before we get into it, though, Jeff. You were with your son at the Capitol during this January 6th. Is that true or no?
Yes, I was with my son out on the Capitol grounds 100% of the time. And everything that he did, I pretty much did as well. So
why are you charged? I mean, I'm not trying to interrupt you, but and I'm not trying to be that guy, but Jeff, you're a congressional candidate. We're not going to talk about, this is really about Ryan tonight, right? But why are you not being charged as well? Why has Ryan been isolated, at least in this incident?
Well, again, thanks for the question, Kevin. I asked myself the same thing daily for the past 2 years, including this week while we're here in D.C. supporting my son during his trial. And of course, I'm here giving eyewitness testimony, which I did today, the events of that day, since Ryan and Ryan was with me all day. Why would the FBI seek out my son, Ryan? Let's see. I suppose the simplest answer is that the DOJ and the FBI targeted my son after deciding that they wouldn't pursue charges against me. Maybe it's because I'm a congressional candidate.
Well, let me answer, and that's a really great point, Jeff. Were you ever contacted by the FBI? Were you ever interviewed, and did they ever say that they might pursue charges on you?
I was. The FBI did come to my house. They did interrogate me for an hour and a half. After it was over with, they said that they couldn't find any evidence that I'd committed any crime. I've never been charged. And I've never had any contact with the FBI since that day. But when they contacted me, that was when my son was in the gulag here in D.C. So there was a clear difference between Ryan and myself as well. So
interesting, and it's really perplexing that you walked the same walk your son did that day on January 6th. You step by step, and you testified today about your actions. I'm sure the things that led into this day. You did talk a little bit about earlier watching that video that we're going to play in a moment, where actually Ryan videotaped this individual busting the windows down. And before we play the tape, let's set it up. That individual caught on tape by Ryan. You hear Ryan's voice, by the way. We'll talk a little bit after the video. You hear him talking about relating to the police. We'll talk about it afterwards. But that individual, he was charged with how much time for that crime that was obviously damaging property. Not like Ryan was walking around video, and that's not what was happening. But this guy damaged property. How much time did you get?
Hunter Impke got 4 months incarceration, 3 years probation, $2,921 restitution is what he got for breaking 5 windows on our Capitol.
And Ryan has not broken any windows. Let's play this video quick and come back after this. Right here, Ryan's video, and I'm assuming, Jeff, you were with him when this video was taken. Right here on the steps of the Capitol on January 6th.
What happened?
And right there, that video is showing one of the incidents that took place where you were at, Ryan was at. Ryan was actually filming, and we heard some folks yelling. They're doing their job. They're doing their job. We heard a lot of chanting going on. Where were you during that incident? And tell me who was actually saying those, words about the cops.
Oh, absolutely. So in the picture, that video was taken by me on my cell phone. Ryan was the one in the hoodie, the red, white, and blue hoodie with the brown jacket. He was in front of me, and we were videoing at the time, and then we captured Hunter Emke jumping up on the ledge and breaking the windows, and Ryan was just videoing along with me and capturing that. And like I said, in there you can hear they're doing their job. Just leave them alone. They're just doing their job. That is my son clearly defending the police and helping them. And so one of the things that we also, testified today, I did, in the fact that not only did the Capitol Police take my card and everything, but then when they found out that I was a congressional candidate and my son had asked, what else can we do to help you? He was instructed to take more pictures and video of the area. And in and about that time, we ended up having shots fired come over the radio. Well, we were able to then, once we heard that, they said, you're a congressional candidate. We have an active shooter. You need to stand behind us. And so they actually protected both of us during the time until after they left. And the thing is that the Capitol Police also corroborated with their testimony about this very issue and that it was true.
Did the FBI, and so the story, guys, let's pay attention here because January 6th happened, a lot of investigations happened, a rush to judgment, obviously we're seeing that. Now, Ryan gets picked out somehow, you are interviewed, but you're not selected under the FBI's, authority to pursue charges. Why did what was the reason that Ryan was segregated from you in this incident? Why was it? What's their justification?
As far as knowing the true reason why the prosecutors are doing what they're doing, the thing is that because this is so difficult with the reason the prosecutors, they actually switched prosecutors out 7 days prior to this trial. So they not only did the prosecution, but what happened was that the prior prosecution was basically assigned to threaten, to lie, to take whatever action that they could to force a plea out of Ryan with their illegal or illegalities. And they just didn't work. They were relieved of duty from his case, I think, because they literally failed. He did not want to, take a plea deal. Another theory that I've been told once is that when they're caught in a lie by the judge, they were claiming for 2 years they had evidence of my son being in the Capitol. Once their office yanked him off this case before the trial began, so that our defense team did not have the opportunity to point out the blatant lies, to the court and to the jury. But basically what they did was they buried those DAs and brought in a fresh team to cover up the fact that their illegal conduct and actions towards my son and this case. A third option I think that you can kind of think of is this. They had the switching out of the prosecutors is kind of like, going for a closing team when you go and buy a car. All right. And the first round is with the salesman, and they try to wear you down. They try to get you to accept the, better deal for the dealership and stuff. And so when you don't agree to it, and especially to their aggressive sales tactics, then they'll bring in the so-called closer, the manager that, he steps up the negotiations, and then he tries different tactics and, more aggressive and all of that. Plain and simple, they're there to literally close the deal that will benefit the dealership. So they win and the customer lose. I think that may be what's taking place here. But regardless, the lies that the U.S. attorney and the DOJ are willing to tell simply to win their case against these J6 defendants, including my son, are not true. Here literally is the facts. Ryan was with me all day, by my side, working on my campaign. And at no time did he ever enter the Capitol. He never rioted or physically attacked or fought with anyone else. He didn't vandalize any property. He didn't carry a weapon, unless in 2023 the DOJ, may consider cameras and videos as capabilities of being a weapon. But what they know is that he's innocent, just like we know that Ryan is innocent of all these charges.
Interesting. So, as a father, on an emotional side, because I have a son who's 27, and I would think that me going with you, and I would, if my son wanted to go to one of these functions, I would go there, not to break the law, to embrace the moment in our history of our country. Do you feel some sense of responsibility? And I'm asking you not to shame you, because I'm going to assume, Jeff, that this is an emotional time in your family, because your son could potentially be going to jail for a long time, and you're going to fight, I'm sure, in battle every day. Like, we should support you. How do you feel in the family as far as this situation? And any things you would change if you look back?
No, in fact, what we did is when we were going through the video and stuff, it actually reinforced the information that we knew at that time. They brought up the very interesting aspects of trying to break down the barriers and everything. But where we were located, we couldn't see through all of the people to where that actually happened. And we also were able to show that not only had we been hearing through people talking and a bullhorn, that we're working on getting permission to go to the steps of the Capitol, that we're going to be moving that way. We're going to be, going that way. And when we produced the video, I don't know how the jury reacted to it, but what I do know is that all of a sudden, when they're trying to say that my son broke down these barriers and everything else, that's not what happened at all. And he,
they have no video, they have no evidence saying or showing that Ryan was guilty of any of the crimes that they claim he did, right? Then nothing's been shown.
Nothing has been shown. They have zero evidence on my son doing everything that he's been charged with.
Who do you, when I ask you this in all respect, and as a father, who do you blame for your son being dragged through the system right now? Maybe it's the system itself you blame, Jeff, I don't know. But I'm asking you, especially someone that's potentially going to be in Congress, you have a heavy load on you, because you're going to have your emotional response and you're going to have your patriotic response, and it's going to be tough. But who do you blame for this system right now that's failing, and we're watching the judicial system be abused like this? Who do you blame?
Well, I would say that a lot of it stems all the way up to Mayor Garland and the DOJ. They're the ones that sign off on all of these different tactics. They approve it. No one does anything in the federal government without supervision and being told that. With the attorneys, and let me say some things. I was told that John Pierce and Roger Root and Emily Lambert and John Mosley, that they were not prepared, that they really didn't, do anything. These people, these four, have literally, spent time, countless hours preparing, ready to go. My son has helped as well. He's done such a great job. And in them presenting this case, I can't imagine the uphill battle for the brave attorneys that are willing to help innocent Americans like Ryan. You know, they're often ostracized and attacked by their own professional community. You know, and they realize from working with these cases over the past 2 years that they must face attorneys that have been given permission, by their superiors. And again, I hang it around Mayor Garland's neck, to do whatever is necessary to force the innocent people to accept these plea deals. When that doesn't work, then they clearly have been given the authority to lie if they must, to ensure a conviction of these crimes that were never committed, as in the facts with my son, that was being revealed today and yesterday and stuff. So Ryan's legal teams are some of the few that are willing to take these J6 defendants, and they're doing everything in their power legally to combat all these dirty tricks. I mean, it really is tactics that's being used by the DOJ and the U.S. Attorney hitmen. One of the defense in locating sentencing for other defendants who have received less than 10 years, even though it was proven through video that they entered the Capitol when officers allowed them to come inside. Some of them, they engaged in physical altercations and they carried what was perceived weapons and stuff. Yet Ryan did none of these.
We just saw the shot. I mean, it was all over. He was on Tucker. I mean, we saw that where they portrayed this individual as the worst thing going, and then yet the video proved that he was released. Now, let me ask you a little bit about Ryan. What was Ryan doing before the January 6th? What was it? What's his life like? Set it up a little bit if you can for us so people understand. He's been incarcerated since he was charged, correct? He's been in Washington, D.C., or in the Virginia jail since when?
Okay, so when he was arrested on February the 4th, he spent 6 weeks in the gulag. And we got an attorney. His mom got an attorney, and he was then released on his own recognizance. Now, he's been out since that time, but he's always had hanging over his head, as you saw in the very beginning, it was 40 years. Well, they dropped one charge, and now it's down to 21 years and stuff. So, like I said, these tactics, when we first found out what was going on, it was 40 years. Now it's all the way down to 21 years. And that goes back to the other where, like Jake Chansley, who was let in by the police, was shown around and everything. And then he ended up getting 2.5 years. And then all of a sudden that comes out and they immediately release him and stuff. So the crime of lying and misleading the public and everything else is what this prosecutor and what Mayor Garland has been doing to the American people.
Do you think someday, and we got to get to Ryan and get him home safely and unscathed here by this attack, first and foremost, and the rest of the J6. I've gotten to know them, by the way. I've been down there outside the prison with Ashley's mom. I've been down there with, Ron Spike and some of the other performers that go down there and they support the team that's down there, giving the love to these men who have been incarcerated, really, in many cases, at the very maximum, it could be trespass. I mean, it looks like, most of these people might be a misdemeanor trespass, if anything. However, let's talk as we're wrapping it up. Jeff, you were there. You said you gave the card to the law enforcement. They recognized you as a congressional candidate. Your son was working the campaign. Is that correct?
Correct. He was my social media director.
Was he? Well, let me ask you because people have to understand why that's an important question. Because as a member of your team, really, you're there, he's there, you're a congressional candidate, he's really representing your you in that position in some sense, even though he's your son. Did they attack you? And I'm just asking because of your campaign. Do you think does it have anything to do with that, in your opinion?
Actually, I do, because it absolutely prevented anyone from endorsing me or, actually coming onto supporting my campaign at that time. I mean, everyone pretty much distanced themselves, and J6 is still kind of a hot topic. It's one of those that, depending on which side of the fence you are now, you either run from this and think that it's awful, or you embrace it and come. But it really has divided our country, and it's really sad because we're a melting pot, and America has always been embracive of us coming together, no matter what the differences that we have, that we come together, and at the end of the day, we shake hands and we move forward. And we just haven't been able to do that since then. And so that's one of the problems that I see is, that they just literally went after my son, and that hurt my campaign more than anything else. And that could be one of the attributing factors as to why I didn't win in the last 2022 election.
And you're back again. You're running in 2024, and you're ready to rock and roll and move forward. What can people do to help Ryan right now in his situation? I don't know if there's any websites for Ryan or donation sites or anything like that.
Oh yeah, and Kevin, again, I want to thank you for allowing me to share, the truth about Ryan's case, to bring out the facts, for our declining justice system that we have, that so many around the country have often heard only the one side, but if your viewers want to help Ryan, they can go to giftsandgo.com/Ryan Zink. And the last name is Z as in zebra, INK. So giftsandgo.com/Ryan Zink. We desperately, I'm running a campaign, and we're not made out of money. It's a grassroots deal. And the great thing about this Gifts and Go that I always tell everybody is this. If they donate and they cover Ryan's attorney expenses, any dollar over that goes to the attorneys so that it can help some other J6 individual. We will not get rich off of this. We will not accept any money. This goes to the fund so that we can help others. And just because I'm on a national platform that I can, be able to reach more people, we may be able to get more money. And we just need to assure them that it goes to the attorneys for the defense of the J6 people and my son.
Great point, and thank you, Jeff, for putting that out there. We'll continue to put that out there. We'll make sure we put a link here in the bio, and when Mark, the producer, puts it out, we'll make sure we can drive that traffic over there. Listen, Jeff, it's a trying time in your life. There's no doubt you're stressed. I can't imagine, me having like yourself to go through this experience. Let me ask you this: your country. And for Ryan as well, if you can speak for both of you, just summarize how you feel about America and maybe some thoughts on how Ryan would also characterize that.
I would say that we're patriotic. We support the flag, and we support our country. The great men and women of service have paid the ultimate price by laying down their lives so that we can have the freedoms that we experience today. Now, today, because of Merrick Garland and the DOJ, those rights and freedoms are now being threatened. And it's a serious problem that I'm having now with what's taking place. So everybody needs to understand that we need to support these J6 people, and that we need to pay attention, because the rights that are taken away from Ryan, they'll be coming after you next. And Kevin, he's standing in the doorway right now, but they put him in jail. They come after you. You're standing in there, and eventually they start putting more and more people in. And the people that don't think that this is not serious and that they won't take the rights away. I mean, this is a great example of what they've done to my son and what's happened, and it can very well easily happen to you.
Exactly. And, Jeff, we've seen this in history before. We've seen our government abuse its people. We've seen how it's been handled over time. And unfortunately, right now, the control of this country is in the hands of some real dangerous people in Washington, D.C. Jeff, thank you for coming on and thank you for sharing the story. Ryan Zink is fighting for his life, and so isn't Jeff. Jeff, we will have you back on for an update soon. Of course, your congressional race out in Arizona. The best wishes to you out there and along the way. Keep us updated, and please come on back and get on and give us an update as soon as you can. Okay?
I will. And thank you again, Gavin, for having me on your program.
Thank you so much. And there you go. So there you go, folks. We're getting a great update right there from our friend Jeff, who we have met in the virtual world. But I believe we're all on the same page here. Let's just face it. The story that Jeff lays out for us is a father and son going from Arizona to the Capitol because they were believing and passionate enough to believe in their country. And you watched the video and you heard Ryan's voice as Jeff was recording, watching the destruction of the Capitol. 4 months that individual got. Well, maybe you can say because he copped out. Maybe you could say because he was an informant. I don't know. I don't know the case. But what I can certainly say is what Jeff has just laid out for us, there's no way Ryan should be facing 21 years at all. This is not America. And if you think for a moment it is, you're wrong.